Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. This is Accounting Nightmare. Welcome Alyosha, Rurse, Tag, Panicking, Cookies. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're all doing well today. Hoorah! More Phoenix Wright. Hoorah, so we're over halfway through the second case, I think, of this game. I think. It's kind of tough to tell because I haven't played this in quite a while, but we'll see how far we can get today. Ah, thanks, Rose. Thanks for subbing. 8 months. Nice. Thank you very much. So what's next after Phoenix? I haven't decided. I'm thinking about Ori and the Blind Forest because I've wanted to play that for a while. So that's what I'm thinking about. Right, so we're up to case 2 of the third game. Ah, good, thanks, Alyosha. Alright, so we've got partway through this investigation and we ended the stream. Okay, so let's try and recap what happened. Okay, right, so there's an exhibit, the Treasures of Khura'in. There's all kinds of treasures from Khura'in Village, you know, that's Maya's hometown. Including the urn, you know, the infamous urn that Pearl broke and had to fix. It's being run by Adrian Andrews, and it got attacked by a thief, Master Mask, and he stole the urn. And our client is this guy, Ron Delight. He was accused of being Master Mask, and he actually claimed he's Master Mask, but his wife is pretty adamant he is not. So we defended him in court for the theft, and we succeeded. We got him a not guilty verdict. We got this guy to give in and admit that he's the thief. Hey Sneejin, how are ya? Yeah, and so this guy was an ace detective. He was a private detective, and he claimed that Master Mask is his arch nemesis, but yeah, it seems like he might have been the thief all along. Yeah, so he's given up. I think he's in jail at the moment, I don't know. Because we gave our client an alibi that he was at the KB security headquarters on the night of the theft. But it turns out someone got murdered at that point in time, so we've accidentally made him the prime suspect for a murder. So now we're defending him for that. Yeah, so KB security, he used to work there. Larry works there. Larry's a butt. And we're currently investigating the crime scene. Yes, it seems like Ron was given a blackmail letter. He was being blackmailed for something. We don't know. If you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, we still don't know what that's referring to. But yeah, so he seems like he might have answered this letter, and the CEO was the person who was killed. So we're trying to figure out who did it. If it was maybe it was Ron, or maybe it was someone else. A lot of evidence. Let me just kind of remember what we've got. The office buzzer, newspaper clipping on first heist. This music's good. Hey King Brolly, how are ya? Yeah, I've been looking forward to playing Ori and the Blind Forest for quite a while. That's sort of something that happened at the start of Sunday you'd rather not talk about. You had a blast that day. Okay. Oh, that's cool, Rex. I'm glad to hear that. That's pretty cool. Okay, we went up against this guy in court. New prosecutor, Goddo. It was his first court case, apparently. So he's brand new, and he seems to know us somehow. We don't really know who he is. He loves coffee. And that's kind of what we know about him so far. Alright. Right, so I think I talked to Larry, and he has Cyclops. I forgot what the Cyclops were about. Let me just double check. Yeah, there's been some good tunes in this game so far. Hey Vertigo, how are ya? You made a discovery that's going to change your health positively, and it's God tier. Ooh, that's good to hear, Vertigo. That's right. He was working here the night of the crime. He's in the security room. We suspect he might not have been at his post, and I'm assuming he had a girl here, but we don't have any proof yet. Or maybe he went out to meet a girl. The evidence he was not manning his station. Okay. So that's what we're looking for Larry. And we also have to go defeat, we have to go break the Cyclops from Adrian. Because I think she broke the urn and refixed it. I've already talked to you, haven't we? Yep. Yeah, see you, buddy. Oh, yeah, so I'm just gonna go see if anything else has changed. Yeah, so we need to prove that we need to prove that this urn is legit. So I think we're waiting for Pearls to come back with proof on that. So I'll just go back to our office, see if maybe Pearls come back. No Pearls? No. Maybe he's future Edgeworth. Your credit card's been suffering? Oh, sorry to hear that, Rose. Now let's talk to Maya, see if she's got any insights. Nothing there. Buzzer? No. 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 Oh, how about people? This guy. He's the victim in this case. Lame Blowhard. No, it's Kane Bullard. I know, but he looks so ugly. Wow, Maya. Well, why don't you remember at least the bull part of his name and riff off of that? Now that you mention it, I guess he does kind of look like an ugly old bull. Jeez, Maya. We still don't know very much about this victim. So, he's the one who sent the blackmail letter to Mr. Delight, right? It looks that way, but we still need to look into this guy some more. Have I talked to her about everyone else? I think so. Yeah, I've talked to her about Larry. Alright. I'll just see if we can talk to Ron yet. Nah, okay. So we must have to get some more info out of Larry. Because there's no other triggers happening. No new events happening. Alright, Larry. I started showing him stuff, but he didn't seem to react, so I'm just going to show him everything, eh? Yeah, so we've got time for Maya. Yep, seen that. Maybe I can show him the CEO. Nope, okay. I'm just going to show him everything, one by one. Yeah, I presented the buzzer, and nothing happened. If not, maybe I'll go show some stuff to Gumshoe. Wallet. Yeah. Show him everything! My OCD is kicking in now. I want to show him everything! 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 So what was it? It was proof that he's not at his station. Maybe we do have that. I think I tried to present the buzzer here, didn't I? That's right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I tried that. Yeah, I did. It's like I'm assuming that... So what I'm thinking of is... Yeah, so this buzzer is in the CEO office, and it's like a security alarm. So my assumption is this did go off the night of the crime, but Larry wasn't here. But I did try presenting this to this Cyclops, and it didn't work. So I need some better proof that he wasn't here. Yeah, I don't think we have it yet. I'll try talking to Gumshoe. Anything else I can show you? Got to? No, you don't have anything to say about him? What about Ron? Maybe you worked with him? No? Okay. Gumshoe? Okay. Yeah, I'll try Gumshoe. Yeah, I think I showed the buzzer to you. Detective Gumshoe, about this right here. Sorry, it's hard to believe, but there's a limit to how much my brain can hold. I got 2 ears and 2 eyes, but I only got 1 brain. I can see your eyes and ears. The jury's still out on the brain thing. Hey Nick, if you have something to say, just come out and say it. Yeah, not nice to think that stuff about him. Detective Gumshoe, tell us more about Mr. Shane Bluebard. I think I've asked him about this. I'll just remember what he says though. That's Kane Bullard, not Shane Bluebard, pal. Oh yeah, the victim in this case just doesn't make much of an impression on me. Well, you were the victim up until Mr. Bullard was found dead. Yeah, and his body wasn't discovered until this morning. Anyway, we don't have enough information yet. Can you help us out? Sorry, I'm actually a little confused myself. For some reason, I'm just blabbing like an idiot right now. Okay, Nick, now is our chance to get more info about the victim. Yeah, that's right, I activated that and then I talked to him about that. Alright. Yeah, I think I showed him everything, didn't I? Yeah, I actually did show him everything. Maybe there's something I haven't looked up here. If I press the buzzer again, maybe Larry will react. The emergency buzzers. Yeah, no fingerprints on it. Alright, is there anything different to say now? Let's see. Maybe there's something here I didn't look at. Nope. Anything to say now? Nope. Alright, how about I show him profiles? Maybe there's a profile I need to show him. No, nothing to say about himself. Nope. Doesn't seem like any of this is gonna work. Hey Cricker, how are ya? Oh, really? You accidentally hit the emergency button under the counter when you started working at the fuel centre. Ooh, ouch. I'm sorry to hear that, Ross. About me! Nothing about me? Okay. He has absolutely nothing to say unless we break his lock. Alright. I'll try talking to some other people. We've gotten everything from her? Yeah. Yeah. Buzzer? Nope. Maybe, did you know the CEO? Ah! Oh, I know him. This is Ronnie's boss, the CEO guy. Well, now he's an ex-boss. Someone killed him last night. Naturally, I know that. He was a pretty sly man, let me tell you. Oh, really? You bet he was. He made Ronnie chief of one of the security teams. But that was just so he could work him like a slave. Did Mr. Delight ever have a problem with Mr. Bullard himself? Even if he did, you think she'd ever tell you about it? Well, Ronnie isn't the type to complain about that kind of thing. I tried to get him to talk to me about work, but he never would. No, we didn't really get anything out of that. Alright, who else would we talk to about this? I don't think Ron's back. No. Have I been to here yet? I have, okay. I don't think I can break her Cyclock yet. But maybe she knows this guy somehow? Nope. Okay. Alright, anyone got a hint? Oh, I kind of wanted a hint, not a, not the answer. But I'll try that. Alright, try this. Take that! Oh, okay. This wallet. You know about this, right? I've never seen it before. Liar. You hand-delivered this wallet to Mr. Light just yesterday. Give me a break. You can't expect me to remember every little thing that happens. Well, I do expect you to remember something that happened just yesterday. What time was it when you found this wallet? I guess it was around 1 in the morning on the first floor of our company building. Oh, okay. Alright, I forgot about that. 1 o'clock in the morning? That's right. In other words, Larry, at the time of the murder, you were away from the security guard office. Yeah, but there's something you didn't think about. What's that? My shift that day didn't start until 10 PM. The murderer might have snuck in before then. What do you mean by that? If the murderer had snuck in before 10 PM, then it wasn't my fault. It was the fault of the guy whose shift was before mine. Why do I have the feeling that he still doesn't get the seriousness of this? Listen up, Larry. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the killer snuck into the CEO's office after 10 PM during your shift. My badge says so. Ew! Boy, you really had me scared. I've never seen anyone look so relieved in my whole life. What's with that little lamb that can't get to sleep look on your face? I guess I'm gonna have to rattle his cage a little bit more. Listen up, Larry. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay. So, let's see. This doesn't really prove it, though. That's the time of death. It's not when the killer, snuck in. This one, though. This was used at 1 AM. Larry, when you use this keycard, does it leave a record? Yeah, it does. But I can't show the record to just anyone, you know. That keycard data was already made public in the trial today. What? I didn't know that. Any kind of request for info like that is supposed to go through me. Boy, does that sound a bit arrogant coming from a part-time guard. Anyway, according to the data, the door to the CEO's office was opened with this card. Furthermore, it was most definitely used at 1 AM, the time of the murder. No way! Yes, someone used this to get into the CEO's office. That happened at 1 AM on the night of the crime, right in the middle of your shift. Oh. Larry, you can't duck your responsibility this time. No! He's a bad guard. He's a bad guard. Oh, I knew it. It's all my fault. It's my fault that the boss was killed. My fault. Larry, there was nothing I could do. I have important issues to deal with too, man. What happened that night anyway? Oh, my Donna happened. Huh? Your Donna? I got a bad feeling about this. Yeah, my Donna called and said, I have to talk to you right away. So I went to see her and... He was standing right there next to her. Who was? Her new boyfriend! It was like some horrible joke. Before I knew what was going on, the guy socked me right in the kisser. Normally I'm the one that does the punching, isn't that right, Maya? Yeah? So is that why you left the security guard office? Whoa, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. How can I ever make up for it, Nick? What can I do? What? Oh. He's curled up on the floor, crying like a baby. Oh boy. Nick! Is there anything I can do? Anything, just name it. I'll do whatever I have to do to make up for it. I swear I will. Larry. Hey, Nick? As long as he's offering, why don't you show him the evidence we've got? She's right. Maybe we'll get at least one bit of useful information from him. Nick. Well, at least he feels bad about it. But jeez. How many times did he leave his post to meet with his girlfriend? If you think about it, you might even argue that Kane died because he hired Larry. God damn it, Larry. I think you know how much I want to help you guys, but I really don't know what to say about that. What is it, Nick? It's just that he seems so, I don't know, pleasant? The buzzer. The buzzer in the CEO's office is directly connected to this room, right? That's right. Just like my heart is connected to yours, Maya. Huh? Go ahead, Maya. Press the buzzer in your heart. I promise I'll come running to your rescue, like the professional guard I am. Wow, that was pretty good. Thanks. I'll try. Do you think you could tell us about the buzzer now? Yes, please. Please tell us. Okay, I guess so. Prepare to be wowed. Prepare to be wowed, huh? I accidentally pressed the buzzer earlier. Yeah, I heard it. So that was you, huh? You're a security guard, aren't you? Why didn't you come to the CEO's office? Well, this is the 3rd floor of the basement. The CEO's office is on the 1st floor. I thought it would be a good idea to, adopt a wait-and-see approach. Plus, there's a police detective here, right? I just didn't think it was necessary. It's as if he's trying to win an award for the laziest person on the planet. Let's get back to talking about the night of the murder, okay? Is it true that the buzzer didn't go off that night? There must be a record, right? You must have had a look at it, right? Of course I did, and I couldn't possibly have made a mistake either. Do you think you could take just one more look for me? Pretty please? Oh, okay. I just can't say no to you, Maya. Let me guess. What do you think, Nick? He's probably right. I don't think even Larry could make a mistake like that. What is it? What's wrong? I made a mistake. Huh? But how? It can't be. It's impossible. Okay, enough already. What about the records? That night, it went off just once, in the morning, at around 1 AM. 1 AM? That's when the murder happened. Really? Are you serious? That's terrible. It can't be. Oof. Buzzer record. The buzzer went off once at 1:02 AM on October 12th in the CEO's office. Oh, Larry. Oh. Yeah. Well then. You guys have really made me reflect on the way I've been living. But the only problem is, with all this reflecting, where is the time for love? Frankly, I think reflecting is a bit overrated, you know? What are you going on about, Larry? Plus, do you honestly have any new info on the buzzer record? Huh? The record? Oh, no, nothing at all. This guy reflects about as much as a piece of black carpeting. Yeah. So he didn't really actually learn his lesson at all. Let's see if he's got anything to say about anything else. Nothing about the autopsy report? Okay. So was this the card that was used by the culprit that night? Well, going off the serial number, then yeah. This card was used to open the CEO's office door at 1 in the morning. Your client had this card, right? Then it's a no-brainer. He's the killer, man. Oh. I mean, he didn't really have the card. It was in his wallet. Oh, we've got some new dialogue here. Listen carefully, okay, Nick? I know you don't think much of me as a person, but I'm no thief, and I would never wear a goofy get-up like that. Nobody ever accused you of being a thief. It's too much work for me, making plans, writing calling cards, etc, etc. I'd rather just pull a dime and dash at a burger joint. Burgers? I love burgers too. Really? Well, how about it, when I go on a burger date tonight? Say no. At least pay for the food, because I'm not defending you again. Nothing to say about that. The wallet. Ah, that's the wallet I found. You found it when you snuck out of work to get socked in the kisser, right? I didn't sneak out of work to get socked in the kisser. If only I'd been more responsible at work. I might have spotted the murderer on the monitor like I was supposed to. Larry, you really do feel bad, don't you? Yeah, well, maybe it's all for the best. I think it's brought Jesse and I closer together. Just like they say, every cloud is a silver lining. You gotta see that old water glass is half full. Am I right? Now he's starting to sound like the Larry I know. Don't forget, Nick, half full. Hey. So what about this? Huh? Maya, you shouldn't have. A love letter for me? No. Sorry. This is a blackmail letter. What? How do you know about that, Maya? Huh? How much is Alexis demanding this time? Wait. Huh? Who is this Alexis? Didn't we show him this letter yesterday too? I'm pretty sure we did. That's right, yeah, you said something about Alexis then too, hey? This is one of Karine's greatest treasures. I used to have zero interest in all of this old junky stuff. But now that I'm a new person, well, I can kind of see the appeal. Hey, I got it! Why don't we all go visit one of those musty old temples next time? I think I could actually learn to like this new Larry. Yeah, but he still hasn't told us anything useful. Alright, thief one again. Camera data. Why don't you maybe you knew about the cameras. Just finish showing him everything. He's probably asking about the CEO now. Check out my badge. That's not necessary, Nick. You don't have to threaten me. I'll tell you what I know. I know it's tough to tell, but I'm really sorry about what happened. Wow, I've never seen Larry look so serious. I actually believe him. Yeah, he's like a totally different person. In that case, maybe you and I should get reacquainted. Let's not. I mean, do we have to? We could just not. The CEO of our company. He was a pretty good guy. Huh? Really? Yeah, you bet. You know how I'm not very good about working hard, right? Yeah, I kinda noticed. Well, guess what the boss said to me about that? I don't expect much work from you, Larry. In return, just don't expect much pay. I see. I guess he had to follow some kind of dumb law about having security here in the building. So, in order to pay the lowest wage possible, he went to the bottom of the barrel. To be honest, I really looked up to the boss. If I ever grow up to be a CEO, I want to be just like him. And don't worry, Nick. I promise I'll hire you for security. So he purposely hired someone useless? That's interesting. That's interesting. Alexis, was that his girlfriend from 1-4? Oh, that was Fiance. Ah, okay. How many different girlfriends has he had throughout these games? Good night, Roast. Thanks for hanging out. I'm really sorry, Nick. I swear I want to change my ways. But the thing is, I just don't have any interest in men. This guy really needs to get his mind out of the gutter. Larry's your stereotypical guy, alright? He's probably gonna... Yep, there we go. I'm 25 now. It's about time I started giving some serious thought to my life. Good. That's the way to be. What exactly are you thinking about, though? Well, you know, my future, my dreams. Larry, when exactly does this future of yours start? A man's life begins at 30. That's my theory, anyway. I figure I've got another 5 years of guilt-free screw-ups before I have to buckle down. Larry, I think... Forget it. We're just gonna have to have a nice long talk next time. Oh, Larry. Whoa! Who is this? Come on, man, don't hold out on me. Forget about it. You don't need to know, and I'm not telling you. Hey now, I thought we were pals. I've got a major oh, that's right. We've seen this dialogue. An orange-coloured memo pad. Yes, I think we've seen all this dialogue. What about Luke? No. Probably nothing new here. Maybe Ron? Does he know what? Ron? No? Okay. Us. You're 26 years old, right? Don't you think it's about time you took a long hard look at your life? Sure. The only time you can really screw up and hope to recover from it is when you're young. Huh? Well, I guess so. Naturally, I'm not talking about you, Maya. You're already perfect. It's hard to imagine Larry not screwing up at any age. Wow, you've gotten even cuter than the last time I saw you. Oh, really? Yeah, you look totally different than 2 years ago. Don't you think, Nick? Maybe it's because we're always together, but she looks pretty much the same to me. Most of this dialogue's the same, I think. Well, we found out a little bit about the CEO, but we've got this buzzer record now. Go show this to Gumshoe. Fiance, then Benifer, then Caddy Tom. Oh, Larry. Larry. Detective Gumshoe, about this right here. He doesn't have anything to say about it. Interesting. I wonder what now. Alright. I guess I'll go see if anything's changed. Maybe we can talk to Ron now. Detention center, visitor's room. Oh, Mr. Wright. Mr. Delight, did they finish their interrogation? Yes, but please don't leave me alone anymore. Mr. Delight, you lied to us before, didn't you? Well, you see... On the same night the sacred urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor department store, a blackmail letter you got summoned you to KB Security to hand over some money. And then, that's where the CEO, Kane Bullard, was murdered. But there's only one Ron Delight, am I right? So the only question is, where were you that night? This time I want to hear the whole truth. Your life depends on it. Oh, okay. Mr. Delight, do you still insist that you are Master Mask? Isn't that what I've been saying since yesterday? That was a quick response. Tell me about it. To be honest, it's starting to get irritating. But listen, Mr. Delight. At the trial today, we learned the true identity of the thief, didn't we? Take a good look, everyone! Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. I guess it's true. I wasn't the one who stole that urn. Of course not. After all, you were at KB Security at the time. So then the person dressed up as Master Mask in this photo. It's gotta be Detective Atme. So that night, you didn't go to Lordly Taylor, you went to KB Security, right? Yes, I went to KB Security at the time the blackmail note said I should. Alright, what happened next? Well, I used to work there, so I knew where the CEO's office was. I knocked, but there was no answer. So then I used the keycard to unlock the door. That's probably when he dropped his wallet. When I went into the CEO's office, someone was in there. Someone? Ah, okay. Then suddenly they bashed me over the head. Bam! Was it Kane Bullard that hit you? I don't know. The person ran away while I was still stunned. When I came to my senses, the sight I saw left me speechless. The dead body of the CEO was right there in front of me. I thought I'd die myself. Anyway, I thought I should do something with the body. So that's why you put it in the safe? Yes, that's right. What? I used to be the chief of one of the security teams, so I knew how to open it. Okay, and what did you do after that? Well, I got out of there for starters. I was the one who set up the security cameras in that building, so I knew how to avoid being spotted by them. Nick, all of a sudden, Mr. Delight kind of sounds like the murderer to me. Please don't say that. Why would he put the body in the safe? Why? Why would... Oh. Okay, so that silhouette looked like Luke Atme. So if he's not actually Master Mask... Getting interesting. Gonna drink some water. Alright. Why you were fired. Mr. Delight, is it true that 1 year ago you were forced to quit KB Security? Oh, how did you... I'm begging you, please don't tell Desi, please! Don't worry, we haven't told anyone yet. Phew, thank goodness. No, but I suppose I'll have to tell her sometime. She'll find out eventually. Why have you been hiding it from her anyway? Desi would despise me if she ever found out I was living a life of crime. A criminal, a thief. She'd never forgive me. My marriage would be over. Knowing that, why did you become a thief in the first place? Because Desi spends money like it's water. There's no job in the world that could bring in enough money. Except being a thief. At least, that's what I thought, anyway. So, he became Master Mask for ZVARRI, huh? No, so my theory is he is actually Master Mask. It's just he wasn't there to steal the urn. Yeah, I think he stole the other things, but I don't think he stole the urn. Not sure who did. So I'm assuming Luke Atme is the actual murderer. The buzzer went off just once around the time that Bullard was killed. Oh, that's scary. Do you know anything about that, Mr. Delight? Sorry, I'm afraid I don't. Why am I not surprised by how clueless he is anymore? This list, we found it in the office of the CEO, Mr. Bullard. Hey, this is a list of all the things Master Mask stole. And that's the value of each item listed next to them. $100,000, $150,000. Are you sure that's the value of the stolen items? The numbers seem a little low to me. Even on the black market, the prices should be at least 3 times higher than that. I guess he knows about that stuff because he used to be a security guard. is an interesting thing to know about as a security guard. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe Atme claims to be the thief, so he's not charged with murder. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. That's the emergency buzzer from the CEO's office. Don't press it. It makes a terrible racket. Sorry, I just love making a lot of noise. Does this buzzer have something to do with this case? Well, at this point, I don't really know yet. After all, there were no prints on it or anything else for that matter. Hey, this is an article about my debut heist. Boy, that was a tough one. Before I knew it, they were hot on my trail. But Master Mask, he must have gotten away, right? It says in the article that he disappeared. That's right. I got a sudden burst of inspiration. I hid my Master Mask costume in a nearby plastic bucket. Then I quickly changed into my security guard uniform. Pretty clever, huh? Oh, is that him? Is he the guard in that picture? Wow, awesome. Hey, hold the phone. The guard in this photo. Is this you, Mr. Delight? That's right. Nice trick if I do say so myself. Nice and easy to figure out. Even Pearls could see through that in a heartbeat. Newspaper clipping about first heist. Guard in photo is Ron Delight. But as you might expect, Detective Atme found the disguise. He truly deserves the title of Ace Detective. Detective Atme found the Master Mask disguise. That's interesting. Yes, and I heard that he brought it home with him. So that's it. That's when Atme got his hands on this. Thanks to that, I got the chance to remake my costume. That must have been really time-consuming, huh? Yes, it took quite a while to complete. Anyway, a few days after that, I received the first of the blackmail letters. The first? But blackmail letters? You got them starting when? Tell me more, now! Hey, calm down. Don't get so worked up. Oh dear. Alright, I'm just gonna keep showing him stuff. What do you think about this? I don't really think I can help you with that. No, that's not it. It's just that the thing is, I don't really know if I can say one way or the other. I didn't really catch that. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything. Right, I'm curious about this blackmail letter, so I'm gonna... This blackmail letter, is this the first one you got? No, of course not. But this is the first one that ever called me out to a specific location. So, did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Tea of Eminon heist. That first letter, it said, I know you did it. So someone found out about your true identity? Just like that? It's not easy being a master thief, you know. I've got proof that it was you, so give up, he went on to say. So in the end, I had to give up the treasure I went through all that trouble to steal. Is that right? Hey, hang on a second. What do you mean you had to give it up? Oh, don't worry. After I put the jewel in the safe deposit box the letter specified, someone sent me $10,000. No one said anything about me being worried, you know. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. But plans? What are these plans you're talking about? They were instructions on how to steal a crown or painting or some other rare treasure. They showed security blind spots, escape routes, and even suggested training methods. So you mean that the one who planned the heists wasn't you? No, it wasn't. I only planned the very first one. After that, I received plans from some very kind person. Incredibly detailed plans. It sounds like Mr. Delight is thankful to the person that was blackmailing him. So Ron Delight was Master Mask after all. But someone else is behind the thefts. Someone who planned them all out in detail. All I had to do was deposit the treasures I stole into the safe deposit box. Then I just waited for the cash to come in the mail. I should try not to look so gleeful about it. So you went after the sacred urn because of one of those plans too? Well, see... Truth is, I've never seen the urn. All I did was follow the instructions and steal what I was told to steal. Mr. Delight, is everything you just told me the truth? Yes, but please don't tell Desi, okay? Ron's testimony. From Damask's second heist on, he was stealing as directed by blackmail letters. Ron, before we go, there's one more thing I want to ask you. Yes? But please don't hurt me. Mr. Kane Bullard, do you swear that it wasn't you who killed him? Yes, of course. I could never. I'm not lying. All I did was hide his body in the safe. But then I was afraid to discover what I did. So I turned myself in yesterday. Why? Well, if the judge had ruled that I was guilty of robbery, then I'd have an alibi, right? I guess so. You're really clever, Mr. Delight. I guess I have no choice but to take Mr. Delight at his word. Ah, is that Pearl? Mystic Maya! Hey! Pearly! I'm back! Hey, Pearls. So what have you been up to this whole time? The sacred urn, Mr. Nick. I took it back to Karine Village to have it examined. And? What did you find out? Well, there's no need to worry. They said it's the real urn. Phew! That's a relief. I was really worried. But there's one small problem. Problem? These cute little pink splotches. They said that it's paint, and that they were put on the urn recently. Why are we talking about the pink splotches again? What's the big deal? Phoenix. 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 What's the big deal? We've got to find out how they got there. That's the big deal. Yes, Mr. Nick. We've got to find out how they got there. Okay. We'll go find out how they got there. But please don't forget about me. Sacred urn refiled into court record. Found in Atme's office. Covered in pink splotches, but it's a genuine article. Okay. So did he receive plans for this one, I wonder? That's kind of strange. What is? Up until now, Master Mask has gone after famous works of art or treasures. Why did he suddenly decide to steal this plain-looking urn that nobody would want? You make it sound like you had nothing to do with the theft. Well, it wasn't me that chose to steal this urn. Well, it didn't quite answer my question. Mr. Delight, are you absolutely sure about this testimony? That you stole the treasures as you were directed by a series of blackmail letters? Yes, and I got money for them in return. It seemed like a good deal. He doesn't look like he's lying. So then how do you explain Detective Atme's crazy confession? I guess he's got nothing to say to that. What do you think about this? Not that one. The brooch. Ah, okay. We still haven't solved the mystery of the brooch. Oh, I didn't know Master Mask had become so famous. Yeah, I actually bought this publicity photo. Really? Well, I'll be happy to sign it if you like. I'll even add behind bars. Yes, please, please. It looks like Ron has totally forgotten about what happened at the trial today. That he was declared not guilty of being Master Mask. What are you still doing with this keycard anyway? Didn't you return it when you left your job at KB Security? Of course I returned it. Don't be silly. But it got sent back to me along with the blackmail letter. With the blackmail letter? Yes, it said, use this to enter the CEO's office. Interesting. I was at KB Security at around 1 o'clock that night. I took out my wallet to open the door with the keycard. So, is that when you dropped it? Oh, I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth earlier. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I presented the keycard to Larry. He said something like, if your client had this, then it's obvious that he's guilty. Yeah, he said something like that about it. So, was this blackmail letter written by KB Security's CEO, Kane Bullard? I think so. Probably. You can only get into the CEO's office if you have a key card. And the blackmail letter said to meet at KB Security. Guess no one other than Mr. Bullard could have written the letter then. How did Luke Atme get in there, I wonder? Wow, this is cool. I'm really into this kind of stuff. Oh yeah? It's one of our most valuable treasures. If I ever get out of here, me and Desi will go to Lordly Taylor to check out the whole Treasures of Quran exhibit. Okay, I guess. Just promise me you won't steal anything, okay? Oh, don't worry. We'll be going when I'm not on the job as Master Mask. Well, that's reassuring. This photo. This has got to be the real Master Mask. I'm sure it is. I know Master Mask when I see him. Yes, but this isn't you, right, Mr. Delight? Well, no. I was at KB Security then. So then, I guess it really is Detective Atme after all. He has a lot to say, doesn't he? I think we've got most of this info there. This calling card. Did you send this? No! That is... I don't know anything about that. I mean, I had other plans for that night already. That's true. He did get that blackmail letter after all. What about Detective Atme? Could he be the one that sent it? It looks like that way. I can't think of anyone else. Yeah, that night, because of the letter, I had no choice but to go to KB Security. Why was he fired? Did we actually get an answer for that out of him? Yeah, did we actually get an answer for that? 1 year ago you were forced to quit. And he's just been hiding it from Desi. Yeah, I don't think we found out why he was fired, actually. So that's still a mystery. Talk about the CEO. Mr. Bullard, my old boss. It's so sad. Do you have any idea what might have happened? Was there anyone that might have wanted him dead? Oh yeah, sure. Mr. Bullard was the type of guy who made lots of enemies. He did lots of threatening things to people. Wait. Do you mean he scared people? Or that he threatened them with blackmail? Well, I guess they're kind of the same, right? I guess. Isn't he great? I wish I could be half as cool as him. Besides, he's the only one that really believed me when I said I was the thief. Hey, hang on a second. This is the guy that had you arrested for murder. Well, I still don't think that makes him a bad person. What in the world do you see in that coffee-crazed prosecutor? What do you think about this? Doesn't know Larry? Alright. Nothing to say about Adrian. ZVARRI. Desi, she really has a thing against criminals. Do you have any idea why that is, Mr. Delight? Well, if you want to know the details, you'll have to ask her. But the thing is, after I lost my job at KB Security, I needed to earn money to keep Desi satisfied. Lots of money. But I just couldn't seem to find a good job. That's why I wound up becoming the thing that Desi hates most. A thief. He's an ace detective, alright. He's been hot on my trail ever since the first heist. Yes, but he made a pretty stunning confession in court today. It was me all along, I am Master Mask. I don't know what to say. I guess he's just delusional? That's exactly what your wife said about you. So my theory is he knew who Ron was, and he was sending the blackmail letters, while also like, you know, posing as a detective and getting all the info to set up the heist, and then letting him get away with it so he could make money off it too. That's my current theory, but I don't know about the murder though. Once I decided to become a thief, I started studying like crazy. Studying? Like what? Petty Larceny 101? The history of pilfering? Huh, no, but I watched a lot of movies and read a lot of novels about great thieves. Oh yeah? I admire you for doing your homework, if for nothing else. All the great ones had their own trademarks. Flashy costumes, calling cards, unique laughs, and catchy slogans like, "Farewell, my friends." I figured I needed to do a good job with that if I was going to make a splash. Yeah, I guess you really can't say goofy stuff like that unless you're a master thief. Farewell, or we shall meet again, you know, hokey stuff like that. Gumshoe! This is the detective that was in charge of the Master Mask investigations. He was so happy when I surrendered yesterday that he actually shed tears of joy. Aww. How can it be at me? There's no way that mask would fit over his nose. Ah, yeah. Yeah, he reclaimed one of the lost treasures. What? Gumshoe cried? Really? Was it a single manly tear, or did he let loose and sob? Sobbed? I started weeping myself too. It was truly infectious. A truly moving moment, if I do say so myself. Oh, I'm picturing that now. That must have been one heck of a beautiful scene. If beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I'm convinced that these two are blind. I'm ashamed to admit it, but sometimes I wonder if I'm really cut out to be a thief. Well, isn't that obvious? It doesn't suit you at all. Oh, I knew it. I guess I'm not the only one who came to that conclusion. I mean, he's been successful, so... I'm sorry. I suppose you could say I'm nothing but a terrible Lola. But why do you say that? This is the first time I've ever had to actually face a victim of one of my crimes. I guess he's talking about the sacred urn. Yeah, but I thought that you weren't the one who stole my urn. Well, that's true about the urn, I guess. Maybe I should give up this life of crime and try becoming a professional cowbell player. A great lawyer and so young. You really are an inspiration. I bet you make lots and lots of money, don't you? That doesn't sound right coming from a thief, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I think we've showed him everything. Now we can go try and break that psych lock. Lordly Taylor, Basement Warehouse. Oh, Pearl, how nice to see you. Hello there. I haven't seen you around lately. What have you been up to? Well, actually, I was having this urn examined. Oh, I see. Maybe if we take another good look at this urn, we can figure out the mystery of what actually happened here. Nick, let's look around one more time. The jokes does not age well or hit during that period. There was a joke. I probably completely missed it. Can I look at my evidence list? Sure. God, we have a lot now, don't we? That's everything. 2 pages. Now, do we actually need to have another look around, or do we just... Oh. This box. There's something about it that's bothering me. That's the box that the sacred urn was in. It looks like there's some pink paint on it too. And it's definitely the same colour as the stuff on the urn. I think I know how the paint got on it now. Alright, let's investigate again, Nick. Urn box added. A wooden box that had the secret urn in it. Has pink paint stains on it. Alright. And then there's this big splotch. It looks to me like it's been dry for several days. There's something suspicious about this paint mark. The bottom left part of it is shaped oddly and it's shocking pink. Mr. Nick, could it be that this odd shape is... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. Oh, that's the box the sacred urn was in. If you look here, there's a little bit of paint on the box as well. Wow, you're right. Look, it matches. What is it, Mr. Nick? This is all turning out exactly as I thought it would. Paint marks added. Completely dry. The box of the sacred urn fits in the gap perfectly. I think it's all starting to become clear. We're that much closer to solving the mystery of what happened to the urn. Alright, let's whip. Talk to you. Save my game. Stop. Take that. Take that. Take that. Alright, we got proof it's the genuine article now. She's trying to claim it's a fake. It's a fake. But it's not a fake. Sorry to break it to you, but the urn is the genuine article. Pearls went back to Karine Village and had it examined. Is that right? That's nice, but I don't see how... What she discovered was that the urn had been broken. Again. Did you say... again? Yes. It was broken once a year ago. And now it looks like the same thing has happened. And quite recently, too. Recently? Are you saying that this urn was broken recently? Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying. Why do you think it was broken recently? How do you know? We're finally going to use this, this picture. But first, it's my badge. So, Mr. Wright? Huh? Why do you think it was broken recently again? Well, because, I just think so. Sorry, but that's not a valid explanation. The hunter has become the hunted. But well, it was. It was broken recently. Come on, you know it. I'm not willing to yield to you on this point. Get a grip, please. Now, I'll ask you one more time, Mr. Wright. Yes, this proves it looks different. I think they actually, improved on the Clown Town section on the case. Yeah, I think they seem to change that one around a fair bit. I forgot what the changes were though. So there's no special wrong answers? Ah, that's a shame. This poster, it was made recently, right? Poster? Oh, the poster for the exhibit. At the time when this photo was taken, the urn said I am on it. But now, for some mysterious reason, it says Amy. When the urn was fixed, the letters were transposed. Ah! I am? What does that even mean? I don't know anything about that. I wasn't even there when the photo for this poster was taken. That was a mistake. Now, tell the truth. Wait. For? Even if the urn was broken, I had nothing to do with it. Huh? Yes, that's it. It must have been one of the people at the photo shoot. They probably dropped it. I'm sure that's what happened. Looks like he's not going to give up that last Cyclops so easily. Do you have any proof the urn was broken here at Lordly Taylor? My badge. Well, Miss Andrews, I knew I was right about you, Mr. Wright. Excuse me? You're a softy at heart, aren't you? I knew you'd never hurt me on purpose. What a relief. Ah, I guess that wasn't the right piece of evidence. I think you're mixing up the me of a year ago and the me of today, Miss Andrews. Well then, prove me wrong by coming up with the right answer. Alright, so is the proof going to be the paint splotches? How do we present that though? We've got 3 different things related to the paint. I'll try the paint marks. Well, Miss Andrews? What is this supposed to mean? There is pink paint all over this urn. Oh. And there is pink paint all over the floor and walls of this basement warehouse. In other words, this urn was broken here. You can't weasel out of this one, Miss Andrews. But... Uh-oh. She's trying to make her escape. But you can get pink paint anywhere. Well, there's none in my office, that's for sure. Well, there is in my room. Liar. You have pink paint in your room. Okay. Anyway, the paint on the urn and the paint on the floor, there's no proof that it's the same paint. Come on, this is getting ridiculous. The proof linking the paint on the urn to the paint on the floor is... this one will cost us a bit of health, won't it? It's the urn box, but... Well, Miss Andrews, actually, I think I should be the one asking the questions. Huh? Are you feeling ill, Mr. Wright? Have you been getting enough sleep? Are you sure you haven't been working yourself too hard? Uh-oh, she's turning this thing around on me now. You really should take some time off and try to relax. I can relax later, after I've solved this mystery. The answer is right here. I know it. Maybe I need to investigate the warehouse some more. Anyway, the paint on the urn and the paint on the floor. It's the box. This box. The urn was stored in this, right? Yes, that's right. Well, there's pink paint on this box as well. Ah! I think you already know where I'm going with this, don't you? Yes, more or less. The paint on the floor has an odd shape imprinted in it, doesn't it? Yes. If you put this box into the impression in the paint, you can see it fits perfectly. Which means this box was dropped right over there. And that is when the urn was broken. Your name does you justice, Mr. Wright. No. I'm so sorry. I was the one who broke the urn. Boy, does this make me feel like some sort of evil school teacher. An evil school teacher. I like it. I'm a terrible person. Not only did I break it, but I tried to hide what I did. Well, that's not so hard to understand, is it, Pearly? No, not at all. I know just how she feels. It happened about 2 weeks ago, just after the poster photo was taken, on the same day the urn arrived here. I thought I'd put it away down here for safekeeping. I was carrying it in the box. Oh. When I tripped on a paint can and lost my balance, the box I was carrying crashed to the ground. I heard a terrible noise and thought my heart was going to stop. Fearing the worst, I opened the lid of the box, and that's when it happened. Oh dear. The broken pieces of the urn fell out of the box and landed right in the paint. I was in shock, and then had a huge scream. Oh, feel bad for her. I can totally see how that could have happened. Oh, really? Was that her sad theme from Case 2-4? Oh, that's really cool. That's a good callback. Yeah, as clumsy as she is, I'm sure Maya understands. Well, I knew it was the most important treasure in all of Karine Village, so I tried as hard as I could to fix it. Fortunately, the shards were pretty big. And that's when the IM got changed to Amy? I didn't know how it was originally written, but any sane person fixing it could have assumed it said Amy. Oh, any sane person? Really? Oh, Pearls. She said she wasn't very good at spelling. Anyway, I put the urn into the storeroom and no one had seen it since then. Sacred Urn updated. Broken and repaired by Adrian 2 weeks ago, then replaced in its box. Kept out of sight. But there's something I don't get. When we first came here, I didn't see any paint stains. Well, that's because it was so ugly and embarrassing. I used the golden statue to cover it. The Amy Faye statue. Aha! The first time that we came down here, it was on the night that Sacred Urn was stolen. But, Mr. Nick, there were no paint marks on the walls or floor of the warehouse when we were here. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. And I realised that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I see. Now it makes perfect sense. But there's still one thing I find strange. What is it, Pearl? The day after the urn was stolen, we came here again. At that time, the statue had been moved and the paint was clearly visible. She's right about that. Well, Miss Andrews? Huh? What? I don't know anything about that. I placed it there to cover the paint, so why would I move it again? Well then, who was it? Who would have done it and why? On the day before the theft, the statue was definitely closer to the door. Then the next day, it was moved. But why? Amy Faye's golden statue updated. Carried into the basement warehouse the day of the crime. Moved again that night. I bet it's very heavy too. The only person who hasn't messed up a repair is Phoenix, and he fit it perfectly with glue and not paint. What did Phoenix fix? That's right, that jar thing from Case 1-5, yeah. That's right. Yeah. It looks like there's some connection between the Sacred Urn and the murder case. But why? Why do you think so, Nick? Because that night, the real thief, Ron Delight, was at KB Security. So then why did another Master Mask show up here? A lot of different things are pointing to one undeniable fact. One undeniable fact? The murder trial is starting tomorrow, but it looks like that thief is going to be making another appearance. There we go. It is on a dolly. Yeah, that's true. Right. Gonna drink some water. Alright, what's the time? Is it cat feeding time? Not even close. Sorry, cat. She's asleep. She don't care. Alright. Court time. You love how this case ends? Nice. I wonder if we'll get to finish it today. Depends on how long the trial section is. We'll see. October 14 at 9:41 AM. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 4. Hey, Nick! What is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it is a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atme's trial today. Detective Atme? They say they're going to try him as Master Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Master Mask's trial. I know. By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. Who is this? I know you don't like me. Is it gonna be Ron, maybe? Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please, don't ignore me! Oh, Mr. Delight. Good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me, even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No! I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be poor. Now, let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending to him to help him commit the heists. Do you really think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick? Am I enjoying the game so far? I am, actually. It's pretty good. It's nice not knowing how this turns out, so it's really enjoyable. You haven't seen Cleo in ages? I can try to show her. Where's her head? She's curled into a ball at the moment. Alright, hang on. I shall try and show her. She's behind me. There she is. She's on the couch. Where's the webcam? And there it is. Yeah, there she is. She's that ball on the couch. That ball of hair. Detective Don't At Me. Ah, ha! I like that, Sana 2K. She's sleeping. I'll let her sleep. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying this. It's fun revisiting it and just seeing how things turn out and such. I remember like the major things, but a lot of things I don't remember. Like I don't remember anything about this case. Alright. It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. Huh? 10 AM. Courtroom number 6. Did we choose the couch colour for her to blend in, or did she choose the couch? She chose the couch. Yeah, we just bought her a nice couch, and well, she just happens to blend in nicely. It's a Cleo bun. Yeah, she's cute. She's cute. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. Ah, thanks Alyosha for gifting a sub to tag. Thank you very much. That's really generous. Thank you. The defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Goddo. He's got the judge in the palm of his hand. Yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Goddo. Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war. But that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes. Well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. He's faking. It's a race against clock, but I'll badge every question and press every statement. Yup, that's the Ace Attorney way. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 AM on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 AM of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then. Mr. Goddo, please call your first witness. Oh no, it's going to be Larry, isn't it? Please no, Larry. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. That's a lot of coffee. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Goddo, your witness? Okay then, let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but... I remember when Mia was defending me, she allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honour. The defence will allow Mr. Delight to testify. You've got guts, trite. Alright then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand. Too much coffee. Yep, that is too much coffee. How does he sleep at night? Like literally, how does he sleep at night? You did it, didn't you? Yes. What? No, that's not true. For a moment there, I thought we'd set the record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with that face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to the KB security? Well, that's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could go home. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. I never said all those cups are regular. They might be decaf. Good question. My visit to KB security. That evening, around 1 AM, I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I'd been working for KB security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. 1 AM, the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up. It's bitter today too, just like my destiny. You'd never know that from the way he's chugging it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. That evening, around 1 AM, I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB security. 1 AM, huh? You're absolutely sure about that? Yes, that's what my watch said when I was entering the CEO's office. No. Actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow, and my internal clock was also a bit... 1 AM, that's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered, correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. Hey Shizzle, how are ya? It ordered you there? It was the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this or take that. Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now, what should I do? Press harder. So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money, eh? A perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway. Oh, is it right? After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Yes, sir. Ha. A muddy mudskipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. Why would he attend? And if... Yeah, that's a very obvious lie. I'll check the rest of the statements first. I've been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yes, that's right. A security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject? I want to know why he was fired. I'll check what this one says first. What did you do after being fired from KB Security? I spent a lot of time looking for work, but then I decided I wanted to start something myself. Not good. This is going from bad to worse. So I started looking at books, TV and movies, learning all I could about masked men. Masked men? So you wanted to try drawing a comic, right? About masked men? No, that's not right. I wanted to become... Your Honour, let's move along, shall we? But you asked the question. You're being quite odd today, Mr. Wright. Way to bring the spinning buzzsaw one notch closer to your own neck, case attorney. There wasn't much to his testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least, that's what it sounds like to me. Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. We'd better be careful. But if we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get a health refill between chapters. You can only get those from breaking Cyclops. What was that one I could, yeah, this one. I'll ask about why he was fired. So that's still a big mystery. Why was he fired? Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well... The world is filled with those who have said, I wish I had never asked that. Okay, then I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. Well, I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Jessie loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? Yeah, Maya. Yeah. My salary wasn't nearly enough. So, I stole data from the company. Come again? KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, you stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out, and I was fired immediately. What? I wish I had never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret, and made it seem like I had quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You'd do well to remember that. He sure told you. So, you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct? Yes, I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse. Crashed and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. Well. Alright. Check out this one first. The blackmail threat didn't scare me. Oh, it wasn't gonna cause me trouble or anything. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway? The blackmail letter said, if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole Master Mask thing. Objection. I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore. What do you mean? The victim had no proof the defendant was Master Mask. But you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over with once I was fired. But it is true that the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps. Even so, there was no reason for me to pay up now, a whole year later. Is that really true? Okay, so I think this dialogue has changed since I got that other dialogue. What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data. I wonder if he would have had a problem if that ever became public knowledge. Yes, because Desi would have been pretty upset. Nah. Nah, I guess not. But didn't you just say he might? Always avoid unpleasant or inconvenient facts. That's one of my rules. Don't try to get out of this by acting all cool. I wonder what that said if we hadn't uncovered that other bit of info. Yeah, so what would this say otherwise? What we've been blackmailed about? Whole Master thing. But I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me. He didn't? Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Desi believes in me. So that's why Mr. Light didn't believe he was Master Mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. Okay. What happens if we go don't say anything? I should just avoid this whole subject, at least for now. As the defense appears to have nothing to say, it seems that this is indeed your motive. But what? That's not true. I didn't have any hard feelings towards Mr. Bullard. I knew I should have said something. Okay. There's a lot of different things to try in this testimony. Alright. Yeah, you have to be careful with the Cyclops. You have to make sure you get plenty of health out of them for the court segments. Get why he was fired. Stole data. Alright, as long as we press this one. He fired me for selling company secrets, but Desi doesn't know about that. Why would you do something like that? Well, for Desi's hobby, what else? Wasting money, huh? It's not a waste! So Mr. Light doesn't know that her husband was fired, does she? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. I can't believe it. This case has gotten even Maya to think seriously about couples. Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright. Alright. Didn't know shop till you drop was a hobby. I don't think it is. It's pretty awful that she put so much pressure on him by just spending without caring what their actual financial situation was. Now, he would have a problem if that became public knowledge. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to do by bullying your own client? Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. What? What? Apparently shop to your husband drops his. I didn't even get what this is trying to say. That's exactly right. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes. Now come on, provide some evidence to back up your assertion. By saving your game. Why would Mr. Delight want to keep his data stealing from going public? Because my badge would judge him harshly. Ha! Well, Mr. Defendant. You heard the defendant. Just when I thought it wasn't possible, a whole new level of irritation rises before me. It looks like the defense was just playing with himself. What? Okay. Alright, I think that's going to be the thumbnail, actually. Do you think you could rephrase that, Your Honour, for my sake? Well, let's get back to the testimony, shall we? I'm sorry, what? Oh my god. Jeez. Yeah. Couldn't have it go public because Desi would be very upset. You think what Godot means is the more heat you apply, the faster they grow, is that people grow through hardships. Okay. Okay, that would make sense. Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh? What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. Oh? A certain person? Mr. ZVARRI Delight, the defendant's wife. Whoa, but listen to me, my Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Ah, Goddo. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. Oh, No, everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that, or you'll be sorry! Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far. What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Hey, Francisco ain't here. Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears. At the CEO's office. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. Wearing what? Was he in his Master Mask costume, maybe? When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that Master Mask struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Atme turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Huh. No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked. We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Goddo. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Who was this suspicious shadow? If there were 1,000 of me, and if even one knew, I'd tell you. Trust me. His dodging all of our questions is not helping us win his case. Okay, then how was the victim, Mr. Bullard, at that time? What do you mean by how was he? Was he already dead? Was he still alive? Maybe he was the one who hit you in the first place. That's a good question. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Forget it. I'm gonna save. Not sure when I saved, so... Suddenly I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. He's on his 4th cup. Your forehead? Yes, I was hit on the forehead as soon as I entered the room. It was an amazingly fast and powerful attack. Do you remember anything about who hit you? Well, like I said, it was a fast and powerful hit. So I think I was a little dazed for a while. I don't think Mr. Delight even grasped what you were asking. Yeah, I'd like to show him a fast and powerful attack myself. Maybe that would knock some sense back into him. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. That? Could you please clarify what you were referring to? Why, my Master Mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment. Master Mask? Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as Master Mask. And then, I descended upon the office of the CEO of KB Security. What? Nick, did you know about this? He never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either. Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait, that's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind? Ha! My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. 6th, eh? He's changed the number on us. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony. I'd have been killed if I hadn't been wearing my Master Mask costume. Yeah, that's true, Tag. Small miscommunications turn into big ones. She spends too much, but because he wasn't honest with her, she had no reason to believe they were financially lean. Something they both needed to sit down and talk about. Yeah, that's true, Tag, that's true. Where'd he slip 2 more cups in? I don't know. He drinks fast, I suppose. He's just drinking as we're cross-examining. I'd have been killed if I hadn't been wearing my Master Mask costume. Hey, Scurvy Kip, how are you? Why were you dressed up as Master Mask? Why, because I'm Master Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Master Mask's trial is being held next door. Yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Master Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him, just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I'd expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about? What do you mean by it took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see. This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. Jesus Christ. This is a bad time to mention that. 3 cups, 1 extra consumed via intravenous. Is that how you pronounce that? Intravenous? Yeah. What was that? Back up a second. Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. I'm sorry, what? I pronounced it correctly? Nice. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Well, yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness, make sure you add this to the testimony. Yes, sir. Looks like a storm front is moving in over the fair with the judge. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. I haven't pressed this one yet. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. When you came to? Yes, I was passed out in the corner of the room. Do you know when your assailant made their escape, and to where? I'm afraid I don't really remember. Huh? Once they hit me, I lost all track of what was going on. I think that's when they made their escape. Huh. That's certainly a convenient story for you, isn't it? It certainly is, isn't it, Mr. Wright? It almost sounds practiced. I don't know why you're telling me. Oops. We heard this from Mr. Delight yesterday, didn't we? There's not much in this testimony either. I bet you he's still hiding something. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll just have to draw it out of him. I just hope he doesn't make things any more complicated. I mean, they're pretty complicated. Are they both prosecuting this person? Nah, we have to cross-examine him. We're defending him, but for some reason we're the one who has to cross-examine him. Gameplay. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. Why did you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in the drawer. That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw that corpse, I kind of lost it. I thought, if they find his corpse, they'll think I did it. Ha, I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him. That's why you spent 10 minutes hiding the body. That certainly makes more sense. Oh, hold on. 10 minutes? What is it, Nick? I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide the body? And spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under those circumstances? What circumstances? Oh! Hey, Nick, if you think his behaviour was so strange, why don't you present some evidence that would show just what those circumstances were? That's it. I'll take a look at the court record and present some evidence. We heard this from Mr. Delight yesterday, didn't we? This part. Okay. What was strange? So are we going with that the buzzer was sounding? Or did that already turn off? I'll try that. Objection! Your Honour, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once, at 1:02 AM. What? If Mr. Rondelite truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way. That's a good point. Ha! Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building. He worked there, Goddo. He worked there. How's the Australian winter treating me? It's making my hip hurt a fair bit from arthritis. It's nice, sitting in front of the heater though. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them. Objection. But as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser. who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend, and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity, was not something Mr. Delight could have known. Ha! Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off. This buzzer is extremely loud. There is no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Fine. Let's hear your theory. Recall the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted. That's why Mr. Delight didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right. Whoever it was, they knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, this is... Objection. This is preposterous. It was this kid. Ron Delight is the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was... the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. Hang on, what's the autopsy report say about this matter? It doesn't say he died right away. What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? Well, I have to poke a hole in it somehow. Oh, thanks, Alyosha. Oh, thanks, Scooby. It's pretty hot over there at the moment. Soon we'll swap again. Soon it'll be hot here. He's cross-examining him because Edgy says the truth must be revealed no matter what, and Nick listens to Edgy. Yeah, that's true. I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? Nah. The defense admits there is no evidence to the contrary. It is possible that the victim himself sounded the buzzer. Ha. Possible. More like definite, Mr. Trite. Which means only 2 people were there at the crime scene after all. The victim, Kane Bullard, and his killer, Mr. Delight. Come on, Nick. If you can't prove that the real killer was there, this trial is as good as finished. Maya gave us the penalty. I guess I need to show some sort of evidence after all. Load. Get that tiny bit of health back. Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? I mean, I have to. The defence's opinion is this, Your Honour. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. It was probably my badge. Does anyone fall for that when I fake going for the actual evidence? Well, what do you think, Mr. Gatto? Ha! I can hear it. The sound of a buzzer. Huh? It's going off inside your head at this very moment. The emergency buzzer of your heart. Is it really? Maybe just a little. Mr. Wright, you need to think more carefully. Oh, guess there goes your chance to become an ace detective. Come, listen more carefully. Maybe the truth will be elegantly revealed? Creepy. You sound like Detective Atme. He's quoting Detective Atme now. Oh, nice. Good to hear that, Scurvy. Oh, you do get fooled sometimes? Oh, nice. Alright. Alright, what does the buzzer say? There are no fingerprints. Gumshoe said that the victim was wearing gloves. So I'm guessing this is what we present? I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. I need some water. The cat's still asleep. She hasn't even noticed that Steve came home. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. Now I'm the one who's clueless. This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind. Oh wait. Did Gumshoe say he was wearing gloves or wasn't? I've forgotten. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Throw! That could be an easy counter-argument. Ron Delight obviously wiped them off. Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button. I know he did. The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Master Mask. And Master Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the button free of fingerprints? Order, order, order. Ha, it would seem. I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number crow flavoured coffee is. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Ha, it looks like you're fresh out of parlour tricks. They're on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 AM. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed. Security was supposed to respond. Nah, they did it to frame Ron. Did Doctor sleep too? Ah, cute. What if Kane pushed the buzzer with his open palm? Shh. Time's up, Mr. Wright. See my game. Let's hear what you have to say. Very well then. Aha! You've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? To find out what it did, they were very curious, you see. In all probability, the killer didn't know what the button was for. What do you mean? The killer probably thought, I wonder what this does, and pressed it to find out. Oh, that's exactly how I make a lot of my mistakes too.
Objection!
Ha! Is there a functioning brain underneath all that ridiculous hair, Mr. Trite? Huh? The panel around the button is labelled quite clearly. It says emergency buzzer. So, let me guess. Maybe next you'll want to claim this mysterious killer was illiterate? Oh, one more time. I've got to calm down and think quick. It was to call the security guard. No, they didn't mean to. They tripped and they fell. In all probability, the killer didn't mean to press it. What do you mean? It's possible that they simply pressed it by accident. It could have been with their back during the scuffle, for example. Aha! That must be why there weren't any fingerprints.
Objection!
Ha! Is there a functioning brain underneath all that ridiculous hair, Mr. Trait? Huh? The accused testified that he was hit as soon as he entered the room. In other words, as far away from the buzzer as he could possibly be at the time. We're talking about the other people, the other killer. You know, the real killer. Oh. It would seem you've been taken for a ride, Mr. Wright. Wanna take you for a ride. What's the gauge in the upper right? That's our health. Yeah, I'm doing wrong answers on purpose to see the dialogue. And now I load my save to get my health back. Save scum! Alright, he wanted to call the guard to frame Rondelight. I'm cheating. Oh yeah! You gotta cheat in these games. Otherwise you kind of have to start like the whole section over. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say the killer called the guard on purpose? Yes. Although as it turned out, he never showed up. Maybe because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. Ha! What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? Come on, Goto. Goto. Come on, think about it. Think about it, mate. No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron Delight, who was out cold. And the 3rd person, the real killer. I wonder whose silhouette that is. Nice Marvel vs. Capcom 2 reference, thank you. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guards came running in that time, they would think that I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder. It's entertaining waiting for him to take the sip and see if he's going to do that. Name that Pokemon? Yeah. Who's that Pokemon? It's spoilers. Hey, artisanal bread, welcome. Order, order, order. Ha, it would seem. There's another cup. I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. But Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Oh, wait. Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mask, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is... Oh, we have to point out the identity now? We're going to drag that person in here right now. But, who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard? Hoorah. It was Pearl. Definitely. Hang on, Nick. Are you saying this is the person who tried to frame Mr. Delight for the murder? Well, yeah, who else could it be? It was the judge. Call the butts. We could try calling the butts too. Did they even know that Mr. Delight was Master Mask? I wonder. Mr. Wright, need I warn you about what will happen if you present irrelevant evidence? It looks like I'd better think this through again. Alright. So do we have proof that he knew that he was Master Mask? Do we have proof? I mean, I'll try and see where it goes. Detective Luke Atme. He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective. Luke Atme? You mean Master Mask did it? Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Cain Bullard. Order, order! But Mr. Wright, explain yourself. I don't think they should have showed us the silhouette. Because that could have been a really tough moment where I have to think things through. Or maybe I'm not supposed to know why. We'll see how it all comes together. Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime? They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as, well, as Master Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty. Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Atme's airtight, watertight and unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict? As an alibi? You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atme's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Luke Atme's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Delight will be left with no grounds for appeal. Am I really sure about this? Ha. A bet's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you. Mr. Delight. So, please, I'm begging you. Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix? But what was that? Come on, Phoenix, you know by now. Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust. That voice, it sounds like Mia. Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess. Ha. So that's your answer, huh? Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atme to the stand. Yes, Your Honor. Every time I say his name, I feel bad. Luke Atme. Look at me! October 14, 11:58 AM. Courtroom number 5. Oh, I see. Payne's on this one. Well, Sir Detective Atme. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective Atme. You were the one who... Different judge. That's enough. I'm just going to voice him like the other judge because I'm out of voices, sorry. That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds a defendant. Luke Atme. Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please. Well, well, Sir Lawyer. Welcome to my courtroom. Who's this hoser, eh? Why doesn't Maya channel Mia? Or me? I don't know. My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atme. An accusation? You accuse Master Mask? That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. But what? His eyes. His eyes are a bit freaky. Well, he's sweating. To be continued. Nice, we might be able to finish this one today, if this is the last court segment coming up. Yeah, it's about time to feed the cat. She's asleep, but, you know, I'll wake her up. Alright, I'm going to take a quick break and feed the cat and everything, give my throat a quick rest, get some more water. I'll give you some music. And then we'll be back to maybe finish this trial. Who knows? Who knows? It could happen. It could happen. Give you some music. And I shall be back. Don't wake the cat, I'll bet she's hungry. She'll appreciate it. Trust me, she will. Alright, I'll be back. Right, I'm back. I'm back, everyone. The cat is fed and she's gone because she doesn't need me anymore. Not until next time, anyway. Okay. Thank you. Okay, save. So, there's still a lot about this case that I haven't figured out, which I assume will become apparent as we work through it here. So we need a motive for Luke. We need to figure out who actually was in that costume that night. Was it an accomplice of Luke Atme so that he could set up his own alibi, or was it just a coincidence? No spoilers. Don't tell me that. Yeah, we'll see. Thanks, Panicking. Thanks, Alyosha. October 14, 12:14 PM. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 4. My sis? I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then, she's still alive. Inside your heart. Oh. Nicky boy! Oh, Miss Delight. Is it true that Detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have any definite proof. But he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Atme want to kill Kane Bullard? Oops, it's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. And it's gotta happen sooner rather than later. I didn't actually drink much water during that break, so just gonna drink some water. If I can undo the... There we go. (12:21 PM), courtroom number 6. Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atme, please take the stand. He's composed himself. Well, well, how do you do, sir lawyer? I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Master Mask. I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Atme has no idea what you mean. Of course, I have been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here. You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as Master Mask. Indeed, it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example. Okay, so I was wondering... Should I talk about what I've thought that I've figured out, or should I let people figure it out on their own? I think I'll let people think about it on their own. So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Master Mask? Of course! Very well then, look at me. Let us begin with this simple question. You having trouble following what's been going on? So this guy was, yesterday we proved that he was the thief that stole the urn. And then it turned out that there was a murder happening at the same time. And so by proving that our client wasn't the thief, we also accidentally proved that he was at the murder scene when the murder happened. So we're trying to now undo that. We're trying to prove he's actually innocent. Because we've now proved that he was there when the murder happened. So now we're trying to... Well, we believe that he's... We asked him if he murdered the victim, and he said no. And, you know, we have the Megatama, so he had no Cyclops, so we know he's telling the truth. So we're now trying to prove who actually killed the victim. And so we think it's actually Luke Atme. So someone else was stealing the urn, that's our theory. We don't know who was dressed up as Master Mask stealing the urn. We haven't figured that out yet. But yeah, we think this guy set everything up to try and give himself an alibi. Very well then, Mr. Luke Atme, let us begin with the simple question. On October 12th at 1 AM, Cain Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time? One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. What? But don't worry, I will not hold it against you, Sir Judge. Thanks. Alright, Mr. Atme, the night of the murder. Speak. We're all ears. As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. Yeah, I think you're thinking the same thing I am, Tag. The alibi. I was stealing the urn as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene. Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. Even the great Master Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atme, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know that he is a fool. Oh, has he been hanging out with Francisca? I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick. The only thing that's full of it is his alibi. Yeah, you tell him, Nick. The alibi. I was stealing the urn as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. So this photograph is the proof, correct? Indeed it is. And the man in the photo is certainly wearing a mask. That is why I am called Master Mask. But conveniently, that also means that there is no way to tell who this really is. What do you mean? Objection. Ha! Are you saying that this is not, in fact, Luke Atme? Well, I mean, the nose wouldn't fit in the mask. I'm stuck on the nose now that you pointed that out, Tag. Can't stop thinking about the nose. Yeah. That it could be an accomplice dressed up as Master Mask to create an alibi. Oh, what an interesting idea. Are you saying that I, Lone Wolf Luke, had an accomplice? Now this is the part I'm not sure about. If Luke Atme was at KB Security during the murder, then the Master Mask in this picture has to be a fake. Then there really was an accomplice. But right now I have no idea who it was. I don't have any idea right now either. Baseless objections are just what that guy wants. There's got to be another way, and I'm going to find it. Yeah. Just going to save. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. I see. You truly are evil, aren't you? Yes, evil is what I am. Hey, Nick? Isn't there something odd about this? Detective Atney was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. The photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is, that is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. When you think about it, it's really odd. You say that almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose. He was simply caught by the very camera that he had set up. We all have days like that. Indeed, it turned out that there was no such thing as the perfect crime after all. Life is truly an ironic thing. A sad, blue melody. It looks like I'd better gather more information for now. If he's truly the killer, there's got to be something phony in that photo. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. I bet the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now. It's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, didn't you? Well, don't you? I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor. And on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed that picture's data. Hey, Counting! Welcome! Maybe his nose is retractable. Very good. You dancingly descend into the stream. Nice. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. I see. Looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious. So, this alibi is false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security. But I'm not really spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the Master Mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at the photo. So the statue has been moved. I mean, can we point out the nose? So who could have been his accomplice? Let me think about that. There's really not many people. There's not many suspects to be the accomplice. But the only people it could have been... I was like, ZVARRI? Adrian? Larry? No, Larry's got an alibi. I mean... Could he have an accomplice? I don't know why Adrian would have... Don't know why she would help him like that. So the photo might be fake? The box... I can't tell, but the box doesn't look like it has paint on it. Look at the box. He could be holding it at the right way to not see the paint. But maybe that's what we're looking for. First I'm just going to try putting out an accomplice. So I think that's actually a red herring. That's fine. Yeah, I'm still working through it myself, so I'll ask if I need any hints. Yeah, the photo doesn't have a date on it. It's only got a time. Let's name an accomplice. If Luke at me was at KB security during the murder, then the master mask in this picture has to be a fake. Exactly. You had an accomplice. Now remember, you've said that, Mr. Trite, because there's no going back. If you're making baseless claims, I'll treat you to a penalty myself. That penalty is probably boiling hot, too. So who is it, Mr. Trite? Who was the accomplice? It's definitely me. It was this person. Ha! That's quite the prank you're trying to pull. Do you have any evidence that this person is, in fact, the accomplice? Well... the aura that this person has around them is... If you're going to judge someone by their aura, you'd better be right up there as the #1 suspect, Mr. Right. But I was the one who... Oh, I jumped the gun on that one. Now, I'm going to try pointing out that the box doesn't have paint on it. Or could it be that this was taken a different day? Let's look at the paint stains. The paint marks have been there for 2 weeks. That wasn't there at all until that day. I don't know if that proves anything. I'm going to try pointing out the box. They probably pointed out here. Nope, that's not it. Goddo is the accomplice, clearly, so he could defeat us in court. Very good. I don't remember this one at all. Alright. Gonna stare at this photograph for a little while. So we still don't know why the statue was moved. So Adrian put it in front of the paint to hide the paint, and then it got moved for some reason. Oh, did he take this another day and then he moved the statue to make sure that it didn't prove this is fake? Is that what he did? He maybe took this a different day. Maybe he stole it the night before. How do we prove that, though? No, that's my current theory, that he has no accomplice, and he stole it the night before. Maybe that's what we need to present. Load. Nope, okay. But it was printed out by the staff, you know, you'd think the staff would tell what day it was. Maybe I have to present the photo? Yeah. Alright. Maybe this comes up later. Might be ahead of myself. Maybe this is what we need to present the statue at. Nope, okay. I mean, I could try presenting that. Nah. Alright, sorry, Ron. You're a murderer. Yeah, that box really doesn't look like the urn box. But why would he have stolen something else? Nope, that's not it. Yeah, I don't know why he would have not stolen the urn. But the description on the box says the urn. The secret urn, sorry. Wooden box that has a secret urn in it has pink paint stains on it. You can't see the paint stains in the photo. Oh, this one is dumb? Okay. You got a fake costume, maybe? Ah, okay, yep. Okay. But why would he have a fake costume? I thought he got hold of, Ron's... Maybe he changed his emblem? Yeah, I thought he got hold of one of Ron's old, costumes. Okay, so is this... No? Okay. You have to remake it, yeah, so he might have changed the emblem. Yeah, because the one in the costume... Hang on. The one in the photo, sorry. The emblem on the hat is white on both sides. This emblem is white and then black on the other side. But that did not seem to... Is it here? Oh, okay. Alright, have you got any hints counting? Because I am a bit stuck. Speckled urn. It's referring to the paint. Yeah, okay. Alright, that was a strange one. Okay, so he's clearly seen the urn after it was broken and covered in paint. And what do I do with that information? They must have already stolen it, I suppose? Okay, hang on. Oops. I think it's the last statement we present that at. So did he steal it before he sent the calling card? I think that's what we're going for? No? Okay. What's the sword say? It says... Demas knocked at me out during the crime with a blow to the back of the head, so that's not what ended up happening? Because we're going with that he faked it by bending the sword? You know? Okay, any more hints? I feel like I've got several tracks that could all be right, but I think they come up later. Wait, what? Hang on. Just looking at the instructions that Counting Kitten has posted. Press on, I had more than enough time to prepare. So I've already pressed on everything. Press on the time at which the camera captured was not the same as the murder. Press on a photograph. Okay, so we're gonna get some different dialogue now? Okay. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is! That is it! The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. Surely even you understand by now. Lolly Taylor provided that camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. That means I could not have killed Kane Bullard, unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse, and this picture that supposedly captures it. It's got to be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture? Okay, so we had to press the fourth statement before pressing the third. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was okay. Whenever I get stuck in the future, I should just try repressing everything. Nothing. Not that I can see. Unfortunately, I don't see anything wrong. That is indeed unfortunate. Men, as a species, are doomed to a life of bitterness and frustration. Even more if you keep drinking coffee. Get it? Because coffee's bitter. Hey Nick, I've been thinking. What is it, Maya? This photo was taken in that basement warehouse, right? And if this was taken on the same night as when we went to see the treasure exhibit, then there's one thing here that doesn't add up. It looks like I need to approach this from a different angle. Yeah, thanks, Maya. And save. No, that was good. I should have just repressed everything. I wouldn't have. I kind of forgot about sometimes you have to repress things. Sure. Are you implying that this picture is a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night, before the theft took place. And there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Very well, then let's hear what you have to say. After I save the game. What about this photograph do you find funny? What's funny? Your nose is missing. I mean, I'm going to point out the paint, because that's where the statue's missing. Perhaps this is the area in question? This area? Could you be any more vague? He couldn't if he tried. Ha! Today's Java has a little extra kick to it. It seems that the funny part lies in the area of the defense. Yeah, nice one at me. Ouch. I better think this through, or I'm gonna fall victim to another drubbing. Drubbing? What's drubbing mean? Very well then, witness. Let's return to your testimony. What does drubbing mean? I don't think I've heard that word. Take that! The funny part is right here. Why, this is a blood stain. Oh, blood! Now this case is getting interesting. He's excited by the sight of blood. Cool. Thanks, Counting. Yeah, I'll do that. A butt whooping. Not exactly. This stain is actually pink paint. Oh, just paint. And peach coloured at that. From blood to peaches. The judge sure loves going on his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is, when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse, it turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. I want to point that out too, eh? Well, Mr. Wright? What is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains? Me! So, what is the evidence this time, Mr. Wright? Well, I thought I'd just kind of throw this out and see. I'll have you know I am not a trash can! Nice. A drubbing is a thrashing. Ah, yep. And I was so close too. It seems you've just been wasting our time. That's nothing unusual for this guy. Very well then, witness. Proceed with your testimony. And... boop. Boop. The statue. The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realised that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there the night the theft took place, and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there. Objection. But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Wow, Goddo. Wow. Okay. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally? Your Honour, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance. Ha! In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night? Can you do it, Nick? Yes. Save the game. Yeah, the judge is great. Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you are prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one who moved that golden statue on the night of the crime? A badge. It's very strong, you know. What do you think, Mr. Goddo? A man should be able to answer his own questions. That's what I think. Right now, I'm busy trying to come up with 2 answers of my own. Why is coffee black? And why is it bitter? Mr. Wright, to put it simply, you've messed up. What are you doing, Nick? You need to think about why that statue was moved. The good thing about when everyone chews me out is that it gives me time to think. I'm assuming he moved it before he went to the actual murder scene. The one who moved the statue is none other than... Look at me! Come now, sir lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions. Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions? It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple, however. Why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue is where our battle really begins. It's so it matched your photo. You jerk. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move that statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Look at me. You pretended to be Master Mask to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film in a drugstore. That is why you had to move the statue. Amazing, I didn't have to point it out. Stay hydrated bot should be replaced by drink coffee bot. Do you want... Okay, here's an admission. I don't like coffee. I don't like coffee. A single fatal flaw. Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Oh, I will have to point something out. Just where in this picture does this lie exist? Time. Or maybe it's the painting. Don't like coffee, you're unsubbing. And your sub badge disappeared. That's funny. The lie in this photo is somewhere around here. Jumping to conclusions again, I think you need to take a gander in your local mirror. As the Yiddish proverb goes, a half-truth is a whole lie. Keep lying like this and you'll be the one on trial. Oh man, now they're calling me a liar. The question is, why was the statue moved, right? There was some reason the culprit didn't want the statue in the picture. At least, that's what I thought. I'll ask you again, Mr. Trite. Just gonna check, is it actually the time, or... Okay, need to load my save. I want to load my save. Let me... Thank you. You don't like coffee either? You don't drink alcohol? Yeah, I don't like coffee or alcohol. Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp. But what do you mean? I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atme went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time. But what does that have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, Your Honour. When was this statue placed beside the warehouse door? Well, the statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime. And it was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim. And so, in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. What the... Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet. Ah! So, on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. No worries counting. You know, I haven't tried very much tea. I might like tea if I try more of it. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match with the way it had been in this photo. Order! Order! Mr. Atme, is this true? One moment, Your Honour. Have you forgotten this? What's that? The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. He keeps losing his monocle. Hey Ava, how are you? Yeah, I'm kinda cold today too. I'm gonna put the heater on. Order! Order! Mr. Goddo, what is the meaning of this? Goddo, I warned you about making me wait. Now put the coffee down. My 11th cup. 11! Wow! I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial. Which means I'm still good to the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. A good point. So what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points. I think he's got his points mixed up with his other points. So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time? And that the statue was moved in order to make it match? That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied. Which is... There's number 12. That it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true. No way, don't fall for that, Your Honor. Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes? If there's no funny business in your actions as Master Mask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy, so let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the secret urn. Alright. You had a job interview today? Oh, cool. I hope it went well for you. Thanks, Alyosha. Yeah, it is pretty funny that your sub ran out right when you said you'd unsub. That is hilarious. The Secret Urn Heist. I first received the request from Lordy Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box in ZVARRI. It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 AM on October 12th. And there's the mistake. You wish the prosecutor would use the same game mechanics and show a picture and point to an area. That would be pretty cool, actually. That would. That's pretty much all stuff we've heard before, isn't it? Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time? ZVARRI! Very well then, Mr. Wright. You may begin your cross-examination. And I may drink some water. The new music is good, but it makes you double take sometimes. Ah, why is that? It's very close to the original stuff, but just different enough. Ah, yeah, actually. Yeah, there's a couple tracks that sound like, kind of like knockoff versions, sort of, but they're good on their own, but they're... Yeah, it is a bit strange, actually. The Sacred Urn Heist. I first received the request from Lordy Taylor about 20 days ago. You were asked to guard the urn by Miss Adrian Andrews, is that right? Indeed. It seemed that they had heard of my Zvarkling reputation. Zvarkling. I see Miss Andrews is still attracting the weirdos. You'd better watch out too, Maya. Wow! Where did that come from? Just suddenly just Maya, by the way. Yeah, it's probably intentional, isn't it? The variations of the music. It's probably meant to evoke the first game, hey? The urn was placed in a box in ZVARRI. It was then sent to the warehouse. You mean this box? Yes, that pathetic box. Lady Andrews was especially taken with that urn, and she wouldn't let anyone into the storeroom, not even me. Huh. Interesting new tidbit. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. So you're sure that you had never seen the urn before? Indeed. You may ask Lady Andrews to confirm for yourself. My security was focused entirely on the entrance to that warehouse. However, look at me, let no information whatsoever slip through my fingers. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. You mean this calling card? That's right. That is, without a doubt, my calling card. I guess Mr. Delight didn't make this after all. Of course, because Atme knew about the emblem. Making this card authentic would have been child's play for him. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. Then no one entered the basement warehouse? Unfortunately, there were many different treasures being taken there. Thus, for a period of approximately 5 days, people were indeed going in and out of the warehouse. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 AM on October 12th. And this is the photo that proves that, huh? Indeed. To be honest, even if a photo was taken, I didn't think it would matter terribly much. Hey, Nick, if this photo is a fake, Detective Atme might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying that he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove that he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a bow on it. I need to take a good hard look at the court record. Not a lot to go on, is there? The detective's been covering his tracks. There's only one thing we need to prove in this cross-examination. That he took this photo well before the actual night of the crime. Alright then, how do we do that? There's one thing that Atme stated very clearly. That he had never seen the urn before he stole it. We need to prove that he's lying. Alright. So the calling card mentions that the urn's got speckles on it, so... Are they actually remixes? Oh, okay. Nice. You're expecting a second HD Trilogy announcement later this year? That would be cool. That would be really cool. I hope they do that. I suppose it depends on how well this trilogy sold. I've seen a lot of people streaming it, so I hope it sold pretty well. Did I save? I think I did. You know, I'm one of those people who sometimes saves twice, just to make sure it's saved. Alright, so it's either this one or this one that we presented in. We'll try this one. Unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. But you sent this beforehand. And bloof. Mr. Atme. Almost called him Mr. Attorney. Mr. Atme, if you really are Master Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course. Is there a problem with that calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Master Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now, the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn. Yes, that is true. But so what? Truth be told, there is no way that Master Mask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains. Paint stains? And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor. I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trite. The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say an error-prone human. Oh, poor Adrian. The statement was fine to press on? Oh, good. That's good design then. This music's good. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn. Arrgh, you can't be serious. And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atme had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself? Alright, that did it. He's broken. Nick? I think it's still a little early for a victory pose. Huh? Oh. Ha. It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Master Mask. And now, we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point. No way! Don't fall for that too, Your Honor. You say that Luke Atme was the one who killed Kane Bullard? And then I saved my game. Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that? An excellent point! Yeah, I haven't figured out the motive yet. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you, my merry, murderous motive manifest? Does that make grammatical sense? Nick, he's getting his second wind. If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron Delight, as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that right, Detective? Indeed! According to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us as to what the defendant's motives were. I'd be honored too, Sir Old-Timer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. Yeah, this is case 2. Adrian screwing up once again helps Nick get the real killer. Thanks, Adrian. Adrian. Motive for murder. Murder. I, Luke Atme, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Master Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harboured a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master Mask. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant? This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter. Okay, that's interesting. What? Blackmail letter updated. Found in Ron Delight's room, written by Bullard. Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination. Okay, so he had something on Luke Atme. I don't know what it is, but he had something on him. I, Luke Atme, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. And who in the world is going to prove that? I will. After doing a thorough background check of Detective Atme and Kane Bullard, we were unable to find any links between them. It's all in the report. Perhaps they were connected through their work. They were both involved in security. Nope. That was blunt. In any case, the only one with a motive was Mr. Delight. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Master Mask and simply mistook who he was. Now, Investigations 2 didn't get officially translated, sadly, but there's a nice fan patch for it, so I'm gonna play that. Mistook. That's right, mistook. From the Old Norse mistaka, meaning to take in error. That wasn't what I meant. Just who did the victim mistake Master Mask to be? Why, the answer is obvious. Ron Delight, of course. Boy, I'd like to whip that smug look off this guy's face. Press harder. Why would the victim mistake the defendant for Master Mask? Don't you already know that? ZVARRI! Take a look at this newspaper! Oh, that's the famous Tear of Eminon, a magnificent jewel. That photo shows a magnificent detective as well, does it not? No, I can't see that. Furthermore, it also shows an ugly guard, namely the defendant. The defendant? The victim clearly misread this article and... ZVARRI! He got the wrong impression. the impression that this ugly security guard was, in fact, Mask de Mask. I see. That was an unusually reasonable deduction. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. You mean this blackmail letter right here? It says, bring $50,000. And the handwriting is, without a doubt, the victim's? There's no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere. An addressee? This letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder. What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? Whoa! Do you have any evidence of that? For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? Yeah, that's what I figured. It was actually sent to him because it's talking about a red jewel. But I wonder how many of the letters was he the one that was supposedly being blackmailed the whole time and he just passed it on to Ron? Or is this... And it was again Mr. Bullard who harboured a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. What do you mean by that? Oh my, I was certain you were already aware. ZVARRI! KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, I stole data from the company. Kane Bullard had yet to forgive young Mr. Delight, which is why he sent him that letter upon mistakenly believing he was the thief. So how did he know about that? Is he the one who bought the data? Which is why he sent him that letter, upon mistakenly believing he was the thief. Here is a file that we discovered in Mr. Bullard's office. Evidence that Mr. Bullard was receiving money through blackmail. However, isn't this a bit odd? Why did the defendant pay Mr. Bullard the money? Even though he wasn't actually Master Mask. On that point, there was an unfortunate bit of chance. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master Mask. Do you really think that story is going to hold up? That assertion is not merely my own, I'm afraid. What do you mean? I have here a memo from Ron Delight's wife, Desiree Delight. Strange time for that music to kick in. Ronnie thinks he's Master Mask. Don't you feel sorry for him? Please don't think too badly of him. Ha. Well, Mr. Trite. Oh. Was he trying to act like Mr. Light just now? I thought he was actually pretty convincing. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. Yeah, that was good with the music kicking in. Now that's just your imagination talking. Come now, Sir Lawyer. I'm afraid imagination isn't the right word for it. This is a deduction, the result of carefully applied reasoning. Can we hear that careful reasoning for ourselves? It's a long story, and better saved for another time. Very well, another time. Those so-called long stories aren't usually all that long. At least not in my experience. So you're going to try to connect Detective Atme to Mr. Bullard, right? Yeah, that's right. Hopefully it won't require surgery either. Oh, Goddo's text box had the female beeps when he was mimicking ZVARRI. Oh, that's fantastic. In that case, you'll have to talk about the blackmail. That's true. Was that blackmail letter really intended for Ron? Since we don't have enough information, you should press him for more testimony. Maybe I'll be able to shake some contradictions loose that way. Alright, so... yeah, so this part... So we're just going to present the blackmail letter? I guess so. Objection! Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atme? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright. When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction? I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. You're one to talk. At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. No! Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Ah, okay, he was making a pun. Okay. Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. It would be the... Where is it? Yeah, that's what we want to show, because that shows that he did not get a red diamond. But I don't know, it might actually be my badge. Ha! A little 2-1 punch like that won't even faze me. I think you mean 1-2 punch. Mr. Wright, try thinking things through a little more before finding faults with others. Ouch, I sure felt that punch, Your Honor. Anyway, let's try reading the blackmail letter one more time. There's got to be something off about it somewhere. Very well then, witness. Please proceed with your testimony. Goddo said he's here to do battle with him. That's true. Where's the case file? There we go. Ha. Oh, really? Wasn't it? Okay. Wasn't that? Okay, I was going to show the that the red diamond wasn't on the list of things he stole. Alright, so what else are we showing? I mean, do I show his profile to say, hey, he's got a red diamond? Or do we want to show this to show that the gem was blue? Is that what we're going for? He doesn't have the diamond in that photo. Interesting. I'll try this. Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the Tear of Eminon, the stolen jewel. Well, what about it? The problem is this jewel's colour. Colour? I'm not much for discussing colour myself. According to the clipping, the colour of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. Red? Which means the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the Tear of Eminon that Master Mask stole at all. Objection. And your point is, Mr. Trite? So you are trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That is what you're trying to say, right, Trite? That is what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright? Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick? Yes. This is who Cane Bulleye was actually blackmailing. He was blackmailing Pearl. I'm impressed, Mr. Wright. That was a first-class joke. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm afraid I could only read it second class myself. Actually, I don't think it had any class at all. Oh. I I could laugh, if I tried. Thanks everyone for your undying support. Especially you, Maya. Okay, we've come this far. I'm definitely not about to let him slide. Hey, it looks like you've got some life in you yet. Can't be bothered reloading. Look at me. Naturally. It was you, Detective Atme. Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? You've been personally involved in every single Master Mask case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen. And received a jewel as your reward. Did he? Interesting. Sorry, just reading some chat. A jewel? Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring. That is the diamond referred to in the letter. Which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you. Order. Order in the court. Order, I say. It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Trite. Uh-oh. I don't like the way he said that. Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke at me? Are you for real? Yes, I am. Nick, come on, stand up to him. Then answer me this. Sure. Just 1 second, Godo. Okay. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world... Yes, it certainly does. Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atme's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity? Atme killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret? This is what it all comes down to, Nick. The identity that Luke Atme wanted so desperately to keep secret was his identity as... Hey, I can save. Nice! Okay. An ace detective. So I'm guessing a blackmailer? So I'm guessing Luke wrote all the blackmail letters, except the final one, which was written by the CEO. I'm guessing that's how this is played out? So let's go with the joke answers. An ace detective! Luke Atme was an ace detective. Thank you for the kind introduction. I am Luke Atme, ace detective. One embodies the nefarious forces of darkness, the other, the angelic cherubs of light. I am completely lost. Someone get me a translator. But anyway, everyone already knows you're an ace detective. Come on, Nick. Are you even trying anymore? Actually, I kind of wonder myself. Kane Bullard threatened. Blah, blah, blah. He's actually Mia. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing AA 5 and 6 with all the different thoughts there are on those games. So, Master Mask. Look at me, was Master Mask. What? That's my line. What's that supposed to mean? That's my line too. Listen up, you. This is what you've been saying up to this point in time. The witness pretended to be Master Mask in order to pin the murder on the defendant. In which case, you'll want to insist, up to and beyond the day you die, that Rondelight was in fact Master Mask. I must say, this sudden change of heart doesn't reflect well on you. Rip. Sorry, Ron. See you, buddy. Can't wait for the AS6 stream. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing that game, actually. Also, I'm looking forward to playing all the Ace Attorney games, actually. I like how the loading and saving is so quick in this game. Look at me. Was a blackmailer. Objection. Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said that Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke at me. Are you saying that Adme was blackmailing someone else on top of that? You have to admit, that does sound a little odd. It's not odd. It's the only thing that makes any sense. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke at me. But Rhonda Light was also being blackmailed by a certain someone. So, did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Tear of Emanon heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person. Incredibly detailed plans. Detailed plans? In which case, that would mean that Rhonda Light was actually Master Mask. That is what we are claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Luke at me. Shh! Silence! Six would take a decent number of streams to get through? Nah. Yeah, especially since I haven't played any of it before and I have no idea how the cases are going to turn out. Oh, thanks, Alyosha. Thanks, Tag. Now I see! It's all becoming clear. But what is? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless, with a tendency to jump to conclusions. Am I wrong? How did you... Wow, really? You say that I, Luke at me, was blackmailing Wrong Delight? In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Master Mask. Well, yes. Wrong Delight started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means, I learned of his identity when he committed that first crime. Good point. You certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise. In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Luke at me know that Ron Delight was Master Mask? So I think this is what we're going for, because yeah, he was at the scene pretending to be a guard. But also, it could be me. Mr. Wright, please don't just throw out any piece of evidence you like. The only thing a man should throw when he's frustrated is a hissy fit. Okay, that's pretty good. A hissy fit. Come on, there's no need to overthink this. How did Luke at me find out who Master Mask was? That answer has got to be staring me right in the face. Judging by your expression, it seems you haven't given up. In that case, let's see some hot bitter evidence. Yes, this is my thoughts. I think I see it. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief trying to be the centre of attention. What do you mean? This newspaper clipping. It has a picture of you and Ron Delight in his guard uniform. It seems that Master Mask didn't just disappear into thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid it in a bucket. That sounds far too stupid to be true. Correct. With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Atme. That's when you learned that under his mask, Master Mask was really Ron Delight. What the? Wasn't he supposed to be Master Mask? Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective. I can't believe it. He was just a slimy blackmailer. What a fraud! Trying to pass himself off as an ace detective. Why you? How dare you expose me like that? Why I mean, I've never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace detective, and also Master Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you are neither a proud thief nor an ace detective. You're a blackmailer and a murderer. That is your true identity. Why you? How dare you even dare imply that one so good voters is low without doing something yourselves without the big mouth of your... I say no. Oh god. He's still going. He's still going. That's enough to make one love! Apparently. It would seem we've finally arrived at the real answer. That was quite a performance by Mr. Atme. Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atme.
Objection!
Well, at least he's putting up a fight. The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim. Well, what do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling. Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge. You don't get much more in your face than that. It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite. What do you... It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Atme was a filthy blackmailer, and that he wasn't at Lord Dictator the night of the murder. That's right. That's why he's the one who killed Mr. But... there's still one thing you have yet to prove. What's that? Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB Security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. No way! Order in the court. Well, Mr. Wright, this is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Atme was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night. But can you really prove that? That's long enough. Mr. Trite, I want to hear your answer. That night, Luke Atme was at KB Security, and the defense... And we can't prove it, sorry. I can't prove it. Just as I thought. But, if we hear more of Detective Atme's testimony... Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite. But what do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony, that's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten? Luke Atme is here after we interrupted his own trial. And you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial and face his guilty verdict as Master Mask. No. Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Rondelight's will verify that he is the true murderer. Hey Dashiki, how are you? I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Order in the court. That's enough deliberation over this witness. I can't believe this. At this rate, Ron is... Don't give up now, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence, and... by then it'll be too late. Huh? Why? Double jeopardy. One of the most basic rules of any court of law. Double jeopardy? Is this the right path? This seems like a lot of dialogue to be an incorrect path. Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. This is a fundamental rule of all courts. Really? This is the correct path? Oh, okay. Oh, I'm gonna go check out the wrong answer. Cool, thank you. We can prove it. The defense can prove it. With evidence. Are you sure? Ha. Don't you worry. I'll watch over you as you break down and fall to pieces. Very well then, let's see this proof. Proof that Luke Atme was at KB security that night. I'm pretty sure my badge has the proof in it. Somewhere. This is the proof. It's true. That is very important. However, I'm not so foolish as to think that we'll pass for evidence here. Mr. Trite, it's time you learn the true flavour of life. The flavour of my special Godot blend, 49. We got coffee to face. Well, Mr. Wright. It's bitter. Very bitter. Come on, Nick, don't give up now. What do I do? If I make a mistake here, it's over. Get that health back, just in case we need to do even more stuff. Yeah, can't prove it. Now we fast forward. The animation of the throw in this version of the game is solid. Yeah, it is. We should count how many times we can get coffee thrown at us in this game. So that's been twice so far. Double jeopardy. And it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else. Mr. Atme will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as Master Mask, which means he will be innocent as far as the murder of Cain Bullard is concerned. No way! The fact that you are unable to prove Mr. Atme's guilt of that crime here means that he will never again be tried as Cain Bullard's murderer. Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent, the real killer, Luke Atme, will go free. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today. And as long as there is no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare that there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections? Who's gonna step in? Then I hereby end the cross-examination of Luke Atme. I think I see it. Ah. Your Honour, when you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result. How did you... Phoenix, raise your head up high. Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. That voice? No way. Bowed up on Mia again. Long time no see, Phoenix. Mia! This is the true power of the Quran channeling technique. Now we have to explain this because that's the first time this has happened in this game. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now she's my mentor, Mia Fey. Now, let's do this. But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine. Not yet. The testimony's not over yet. What do you mean? Your Honour, just now you said something very interesting. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today. Yes, that's true, but... Unfortunately, Your Honour, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks. Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Yes, but these comments appear to have no importance whatsoever. Very well, then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witness has made these remarks, we, the defence, assert our right to question them. Is that alright with you, prosecutor? Is something the matter, Mr. Goddo? Nothing. Oh, Sir Lawyer, it looks like you're one step too late. If you think such falsehoods will do anything to me, look at... Let's hear it. Huh? It's true that the witness has made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. But, Mr. Goddo, what are you... Very well then, Mr. Look at me. I'm going to allow the defence to cross-examine your earlier remarks. The defence would like to hear why you declare the defendant to be the true murderer. So please, give us one last bit of testimony. Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance. Yes, Chief. Interesting. Drink some water. They do that a lot in these games, don't they? They keep saying, this is your last chance. And then it just kind of keeps going. The last testimony. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lord Taylor. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph readied. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Ron Delight. And thanks to the keycard and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. And the blackmail letter. The victim likely just mistook the colour of the jewel. Wow, this is a long testimony. ZVARRI! Therefore, all the evidence points to that poor boy. This testimony actually seems to hold up pretty well. The witness's earlier remarks do not appear to have been hastily prepared. All of his points have been explained, and none of them seem to contradict anything. Well, of course. But, how did you know about the emergency buzzer? The police investigation documents went directly through me. Why would they have gone through you? And I always look over all the documents. It's elementary, Sir Lawyer. Are you going to make even more trouble for us now, Sir Lawyer? I will not allow any of your usual shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. We cannot postpone Luke Atmy's trial any longer. This is your last chance. Hang on a sec. Just one chance? Ha! It seems that the party's about to begin. Well, Phoenix, there isn't any evidence that contradicts with that testimony. So it would seem... But what do you mean, so it would seem? Listen, Phoenix, pointing out contradictions doesn't always mean you have to present evidence, does it? At any rate, this is our last chance. If you can't point out a case-breaking contradiction, you lose. That's all there is to it. Cup number 17. The last cup. It seems like the time has come to put an end to this trial. I have to find a fatal contradiction in this testimony, and I need to point it out without presenting evidence. Which means all I can do is find the contradictory remark and press it. Remember, you only get one chance. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final cross-examination. Well, just a little bit intimidating. Alright, well, that is where we save the video game. You're not Lord Detailer. And a vitally important job request. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh, they said without presenting evidence, so that ain't gonna help. This cross-examination is the only chance I have to nail him. Somewhere there's a huge contradiction, and I've got to find it. As far as I can see, there is no evidence that contradicts his testimony. All you can do is press him, and you only get one shot. What happens if I press something that's wrong? Do I get any extra dialogue? Let's find out. Ask about this one. Mr. Atme, about this last remark. Oh yeah, this is going to be generic dialogue. You still don't get it, do you? Try it. This isn't the time to be pressing the witness on every little statement. What? I said this before. There's still one thing you haven't proven. That the scum was in Kane Bullai's office that night. Wow, called him scum. And now, it's time for me to drink my last cup. Wow. Mr. Wright, I will hold you to your end of the bargain. Alright, so we need to prove he was there. It doesn't make sense that the investigation would go through him. Why would it go through him? Why would Ron sound the buzzer? Oh. Incorrect. Okay. Nope. Hang on. It might be a fake out. Aha! I'm afraid you're the one who still doesn't get it, Mr. Goddo. That nearly faked me out. that was mean. What? Mr. Atme, it seems you have finally admitted that you were in the CEO's office on the night of the murder. How can you say that? That did fake you out before? Yeah, that nearly got me. I was one statement away from just reloading. Let's review your testimony, shall we, Mr. Atme? The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, is that correct? Indeed, that's what I said. My deductions are absolutely foolproof. Well, like your deductions prove that you're a fool. I'm sorry, whatever do you mean? For some reason, I'm starting to get really thirsty. When exactly did we learn the fact that Ron Delight was dressed as Master Mask when he went to the scene of the crime? Ah, okay. I didn't catch on that. That was, it was just a few hours ago. Back when my sixth cup was looking at me with a cold stare. Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. That's right. The defendant had yet to tell anyone else this fact before this morning. Therefore, the only people who should know this are those who have been watching this trial. Do you understand now, Detective Atme? There is no way that you should have known about that. You are in the next courtroom, being tried as Master Mask. So then, enlighten us. Just how did you know that piece of information? Well? Objection. Come on, this detective must have known about it. He probably had plenty of chances to find out beforehand. And it's those chances that I want to discuss next. That night, Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit. There is one and only one way for Detective Atme to have found that out. Only one? One way, you say? Please recall, if you will, Mr. Delight's testimony. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. For a second, my client witnessed the real killer. But Mr. Delight never saw his attacker, so there's no way to tell whether or not the real killer was Luke Atme. It's with that statement that I'll turn this case on its head. Just what are you implying? Mr. Delight saw the real killer, correct? Now, if you turn that statement around, it stands to reason that the real killer had also seen Ron Delight. Ah, thanks for following, Penguin Suitor. Impossible. Detective Atme, you saw Master Mask at the murder scene that night. You saw him when you killed Kane Bullard and assaulted Ron Delight. That was the only way you could have known what Ron was wearing. He's pairing up. Oh. Okay. Take a good look, everyone! Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. That's the same line you gave yesterday. But I think there's a little more meaning behind it this time. Okay. I thought he was going to hit Super Saiyan level 3. What an awfully complicated incident. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atme, who was in turn blackmailing Ron Delight. And upon killing his blackmailer, Luke Atme tried to frame Ron Delight. He then claimed to be guilty as Master Mask in order to escape his true crime. And to that end, he came up with his plan to use the double jeopardy rule when making his alibi. At any rate, it would seem we've finally found the truth. Excuse me? I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man. Besmirching him with the title of murderer. Don't ignore me! Oh, I didn't realize you were there. Why wouldn't he be? About the verdict. I know. You never committed any murder. That's right. I'm so glad you understand that. But I really am Master Mask! Huh? So, thanks to that trial yesterday, I'm innocent now, right? What was it you said? Double jeopardy? Now that you mention it, I've been careless. Careless? What do you think, Mia? As the defendant says, the rule of double jeopardy is absolute. A defendant can never be tried twice for a crime in which he was once found innocent. Then, Master Mask is really innocent? It would seem so. For now. For now. Now then, this court finds a defendant. Not guilty! Wah! Boy, this is really lucky. Wait, this isn't so good after all. You see, the thing is, I still am Master Mask after all. Yeah, Super Saiyan level 3, it's the one where Goku gets like the massive head just going all the way down his back, and he screams for like 10 minutes before he powers up. Or before he goes level 3. Yeah, Ron still has the font fade away. October 14, 3:35 PM, Defendant Lobby number 4. You did it, Phoenix. Thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yeah, it's because Maya doesn't call on me much these days. Oh? I'm just joking, Phoenix. Don't take everything so seriously. But on the other hand, Maya, she seems kind of torn these days. You mean about becoming the master of the Kurine Channeling School? Becoming the master means saying goodbye to our mother. Misty Faye, right? Watch over her, will you, Phoenix? Of course. Well then, see you around. Mia. Ah, Mr. Wright. I don't know what to say. Congratulations, Mr. Delight. Thank you so much. No, wait. Nothing really matters anymore, though, now that all of this has happened. Come on, just be happy already. Maya. You've been cleared of the murder charges and got off as Master to boot. But, in exchange, I lost everything. Huh? What do you mean? Stealing security information from KB Security? Becoming Master Mask? Ah, thanks for following, Thanos. Ah, don't worry about that, Alyosha. I did it all for one reason. For her. You mean your wife, ZVARRI? She hates criminals more than anything. Come to think of it, she was once held hostage by some robbers, wasn't she? She always said how she hated sneaky criminals. I knew that, but... once I got fired from KB Security and lost all the money I had, she wouldn't have any reason to stay with me. I thought she would leave me for sure. So, that's why you became Master Mask? Yes, but it's all over now. A broken bowl can never be put back together. But that's not true, right, Nick? Ah, we're gonna show him the urn. Right. But really? Can we go back to the way things were? You'll be fine, and Nick can prove it. I can? I kind of wish you would check with me first. Mr. Delight, even if a bowl is broken, there is always a way to put it back together. Just use my badge. Thank you, Mr. Wright, for trying to cheer me up. You don't have to put on a brave face just for me. Huh? I think I'm going to go off by myself and think things over for a while. But wait, Mr. Delight. Farewell, Mr. Wright. He's gone. I guess that didn't do much to make him feel any better. Oh. Show you the urn! Oh my god, there's so much evidence in this case. The sacred urn! Desi was the one who found this. ZVARRI, your wife, she's always believed in you, Ron. That's why you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Ah, there you are! Mr. Light. You did it, Ronnie! You're innocent! I'm so happy! Thank you. I appreciate that. But, I suppose you don't want anything more to do with me, do you? Ronnie! Why didn't you talk to me about what was going on? I had no idea you'd quit KB Security. I never imagined that you were really Master Mask either. Mr. Light, what are you going to do now that you know? You're not going to really leave him, are you? Come on, it's obvious, isn't it? How could I ever let a wonderful man like him get away? After all, my bike's really fast. So fast that there's no way he could ever get away. But didn't you say that you hated criminals? Oh, I only hate people who act all cowardly and sneaky. Like that detective. I see. My Ronnie went and declared his crimes before he committed them, like a man. I just love a man who's so chivalrous. Chivalrous? I knew I was right about you. Every day I spend with you is filled with thrills and excitement. Desi? Aw, this is sweet. Zero. You really do love Ron, don't you? Nicky boy! Yes? I'm really glad I asked you to defend my Ronnie. Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us. You really miss out on a lot of important dialogue if you get that wrong. Got to see them, got to be sure that they're going to stay together. Aww. Oh, well, take care of yourself. You too, Nicky boy. Oh, I can feel my face going red. Mr. Nick! Mystic Maya! Congratulations! Talk about bad timing. Mr. Nick! How could you? With another man's wife, in front of Mystic Maya! No, you got it wrong. I'll never forgive you! Never, ever! Well. So, just as the case came to a close, so too did my consciousness. Ron said, a broken bowl can never be put back together. But I know that's not true. I mean, just look. Here's a perfect example of one that was put back together even better than before. Yeah, except for those paint splotches, but still. Episode 2, The Stolen Turnabout. The end. That was cool. That was a fun case. I liked that. Episode 3, Recipe for Turnabout. I don't really remember much about this one either, so that will be also quite fun. Alright, thank you all for watching. That was quite fun. I'm glad we finished that up today. Oh boy, this next case. Oh great. What a mess. Oh, that's a good sign. that's a sign. Alright, thank you all for watching. Who is streaming tonight? No one. Yeah. Guess I'm not going to raid anyone. I'm just going to say good night and thanks all for watching. We'll play case 3 next time. My throat's kind of sore, so I'll just see how my throat feels. If my throat's sore, then I'll play something else. Every game has a case that is just kind of subpar. I'm afraid you've reached that case. Oh, ah well. We'll get through it, because I remember the other 2 cases are good. Yeah, this game has 5 cases instead of 4, because the 4th one's pretty short from what I remember. Thank you everyone. I'll see you all next time. See yous.